One.
Hi, and welcome to our next episode in the series of live chats on Facebook. And today I have Andrea Henriksen from The Breakfast Coach, who's come along to discuss with you some more examples of behavioural flexibility. In fact, Andrea at the moment is a living, breathing example of behavioural flexibility because she's actually located in an apartment while her house gets pulled apart for some major reno works. Isn't that right, Andrea?
It sure is. It sure is. And it is. It's a really great example of deploying behavioural flexibility. But, it's like, for me, in preparing for today, it's about thinking about, well, why do we need behavioural flexibility? Why is it so important? And, if I reflect on the last 2 years, it has been 2 years since we found a leak in our house. It is a classic example of, why would I want behavioural flexibility? And the very simple reason for that is that I can save time and effort and, more than anything else, my energy in going into, perhaps once upon a time I might have done a little bit of drama about this situation, or I might have done a little bit of chaos and confusion. I might have ran all of these different strategies for what is, it's quite a difficult situation, having a leaking bathroom from a second story into the lounge room. It's certainly having behavioural flexibility. So rather than running chaos and distraction or confusion and drama, what we have deployed is patience and focus and a very committed approach to just going along with the situation that we had. Like, we were not in control of it. You can't control a leak. You just got to turn the water off
and get out of the way.
And we can't control what's happened in the past either. We can't control the builders who didn't do the waterproofing. We can't control the developers that didn't get it checked. We can't control any of that. So just bringing sheer patience and a steadfast focus to liaising with whoever we've needed to get the project on the way has been, the success, really. And we're about to get a whole new bathroom put in and a whole new walk-in robe and some really great painting and new carpets and all sorts of lovely things. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Yeah. So would you say then, we know from NLP that the person with the most behavioural flexibility ultimately has control over the system. And in this case, the system relates to your home. Yeah. So what would you say, for you, the difference has been in terms of getting this resolved?
The major difference is that, the difference is really not getting caught up in emotions and behaviours that don't make any difference. So if I think about, 10 or 15 years ago, I would have probably been on the phone screaming and carrying on like a poor child. And, blaming every man and his dog for the problem that we have. And, that's all well and good, and that might have got a result, but, the benefit to having behavioural flexibility is that I haven't indulged in anything that's taken me and also with my partner away from just resolving it, getting it resolved and staying on track and staying on focus. And obviously, we're here because we're talking about ultimately behavioural flexibility as it relates to business planning. But it's allowed us to stay on track and not deter from the track. We were very clear. If we go back to success principle number 1, know your outcome. The outcome was very clear: get the bathroom fixed. And do that in a way that works for everyone, that's a win-win for everyone. We just wanted it resolved in a really fair and reasonable and equitable manner for everyone.
Yeah. So You've mentioned there the importance even of bringing this into business planning as well. So you can see the analogy between the two. How do you find, I know with some of the businesses that I work with, if they go down the rabbit hole of, really indulging in the woe is me because things aren't turning out how they wanted, or they're going slower, or someone hasn't paid a bill they're supposed to pay, or, cash flow isn't what it should be, or et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. The impact that has on their focus on the ultimate goal in the business is quite adverse, really.
Yes.
So what would you say to businesses where if you're coming up against them and they're getting distracted by the white noise, if you like, or what might seem to them like black noise in the business?
Yeah. Well, I think having behavioural flexibility is really something that's learnt over time. I don't think it's something that can be, deployed within, a second, although, maybe with NLP it can be. It's really about being very decisive and being clear on what the outcome is, and being really committed to that end in mind, and making a very clear decision about how you want to do that. And one of the ways that you can do that is certainly by looking at the end of each day, looking at how the day went, and being able to give yourself feedback on how the day has gone, and if anything hasn't gone so well, asking yourself, getting curious and inquiring in your own time about how you might do things differently next time if that situation was to arise again, how you might do that differently. What if I did that differently? What might I do? How else could I do that particular thing that perhaps didn't go so well during the day? So it's the ability to give yourself feedback and take corrective action from there, and be very clear about what that might look like, sound like, feel like, and how you might implement that in another situation should that arise.
Yeah. So one of the main points that I'm getting there again and again, which of course relates to our 5 success principles, is that in order to deploy behavioural flexibility so that it does enhance your achievement of your goals, is first of all really knowing your outcome. And that's really what our trip to Thailand is all about, isn't it? For businesses. Yeah, because we're heading over to the wonderful warm Thailand in the midst of the southern Australian winter, and warming our bones whilst we get very, very clear on knowing the outcome for the businesses that come along. Yeah?
Indeed. Yeah. And, I think it's, if you're deploying behavioural flexibility to strategic planning and knowing your outcome, sometimes I think I'm yet to meet a business owner that loves planning. I love planning, but I think I'm a bit of a unique breed. Or you might find people who really do love planning, but implementation is the real stretch for them. So Thailand is really an opportunity to bring that flexibility, that behavioural flexibility, because you've got time. In our day-to-day, we often don't have time to sit and think and ask yourself those questions about how you might do things differently, and all the what ifs of how else, and thinking about things in a different way. Whereas when you've got time to immerse yourself in business planning, you will find that you can really learn that behavioural flexibility during that process. So it's a really fantastic way to get out of the daily grind and think about what you really want for your business.
That's right. Yeah. So, we've got tomorrow we're going to have another pair of people up doing this interview, following up on behavioural flexibility by looking at the psychology and physiology of excellence. Yeah, the 5th success principle, and that's an important part of the 5 success principles overall. So I'm thinking that certainly the psychology and physiology of excellence will be enhanced in Thailand with all that beautiful massages and everything we can indulge in. Do you have the link today, Andrea, to put up, or will we put it in the Facebook post? Or
I'll put it up. I've just put it up now.
Great,
Yeah.
great. That'd be great. So if you're interested in joining us in Thailand, we have 2 places available, 2 places left, and we're leaving on May the 25th, and we'll be over there for 5 days. So feel free to come and join us if you're ready and up to working on your business and getting very, very clear about the outcome you want to achieve over the next 12 months and building your awesome business. But thanks for joining us again today, and thank you very much, Andrea, for your insights and sharing your very current experience on behavioural flexibility.
True.
Okay.
Thanks, Joanne. Thanks for your time.
Okay.
See you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you later.